Hello, everybody. What's up? This is Warren from the Rhapsody Piano Studio. We're helping you to play the music you love at the level you're at on the piano. We're going to be learning Heather by Conan. This is going to be for intermediate piano. Make sure you pick up a copy. The sheet music will be available in the links, cards, descriptions, all over the place. I put them everywhere. It's really easy to find. Okay, so make sure you pick up a copy of the sheet music. All right. Lastly, before we start, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you want to catch whenever I go live on these lessons and also my tutorials. You're also going to want to, it's kind of squeaky. You're also going to want to hit the notification bell too so you can kind of get reminders of those, okay? Sorry, let me get that away. Better for your viewing pleasure. Okay, this is Heather. Welcome back, my friend. So now, beginning, I basically play for you the entire intro. You're actually not gonna want to practice it that way, okay? It's just like a 3-note melody. And then when you get to here, these are all similar patterns, right? It just does this over and over again. So that's why you don't want to really just practice this whole entire section. If you just figure out it's just this pattern, and you get good at that, then you can just do it as many times as you want, as little as you want. Then the next pattern, okay, and then, okay. So basically, the harmonies is just going through. This is F major to A minor to D minor, and this is B flat major with an F on the bottom as the root, and then here we have B flat minor. Okay, so I play it all together. If you give it a listen. Okay, so you can kind of get that basic chord progression, basic harmony in your ear. Then just playing it, it's really not much of a problem. Okay, so just do that, and then. Kind of make it a little bit more difficult where I just shorten it, so I just play it once instead of all those repetitions. And that's basically all there is to it. So if you divide it that way, you kind of save yourself time, make it a whole lot easier to play at the same time as well. Okay, a couple things. When we get to the D minor chord, I switch to a 4 because it makes it easier to get to that next chord. Okay, now last part before we start the song, I still remember. It's a little jump. So you really want to practice that again. Hi Ava, yes, this is a really nice song. Okay, so you're really just focusing in on the most difficult parts you need to practice. Well, one thing is just how can you get the same results in a shorter amount of time, and then what are the difficult parts you need to practice, and just hone in on that. It's like taking a microscope to it. Okay. All right. Now we go back to the beginning and we just play it again. Let me play it for you first, and then we'll try it together. Oh, wrong note. Where am I? Charles. This is definitely a beautiful song. I had a lot of fun recording this one. All right, let's try it together from the beginning. Ready, set, go. Okay, so that's basically the first step of how to practice this song. But also, if those of you who aren't new to this channel, you guys know that I'm trying to show you steps that you can, or ways to practice not only this song, but this is the way to practice pretty much any song or any piece, whatever genre, whatever level you're at, okay? So I'm teaching you the steps for this one, it applies to anything else. So first step was to just pick the first small section, pretty much the first page, that intro, and then kind of hone in on that. There's some subtleties, right, showing you like, okay, just do it this way, save your time like that, and then focus in on the parts that are difficult. But that's pretty much the first part of how to practice. Just pick a small section, and if necessary, do hands together or hands separate, okay? It was just one note here in the left hand, so I was like, just do both hands, okay? Unless you're having a really difficult time, then go ahead and do hands as separate, okay? All right, and then we'll repeat this process throughout the whole entire song. Okay, one last thing I want to mention before we continue on with the next section. If you look at the metronome marking, you say BPM is dotted half note at 46. I actually find that very difficult because they want you to count the whole entire measure as one beat. It's kind of hard to pull off. So what I would recommend is just tripling it, okay? So instead of 46, what is the math on that? 3 times 6, 18, 138. I think it's 138. I hope I have the right math on that. Just because I'm Asian doesn't mean I'm good at math, by the way. All right, so I think 138. That way you divide it into 3 beats instead of just 1 beat for the whole measure. That way it's easier to count, easier to get the rhythm, okay? So 138, and then you do 1 beat at a time. So instead of counting 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, you're gonna count 3, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That way, it's easier to place it according to the beat. And then when you get really good at that, the final test is to try it at 46, okay? Hey, Aesthetic Chris, interesting name. Yeah, awesome, man, yeah. It's a really good song. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it before. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Next part now, when we actually start the melody of the song. So I basically played the next section. However, we're definitely going to divide that up, okay? So let me see, where should we start? Okay, so all right, said it looked better on me. I stopped at that measure, okay? Because this is kind of a longer section that I gave you here when I played it in its entirety. Again, you want to split it up into different sections, little chunks is what I like to call them, okay? The same thing here. I don't think it's really necessary to do hand separate practice because there's only one note, very few notes in the left hand, okay? All right, so let me play for you one more time and then get ready to play with me. Try that together. Hi Morgan, it's all right, better late than never, okay? I still remember, here we go. Let's try it together at the same time. Let me slow it down for you guys. Ready, set, go. Okay, now the next section. Of course, if these parts that I'm giving you are still a little bit too long, okay, and you're having trouble with it, you could always shorten it, like maybe 1 verse at a time or even half a verse at a time, okay? So these rules that I'm giving you are not set in stone. These rules are meant for you guys to just kind of play around with them and figure out a way that works for yourself, okay? All right, better than me than it did on you, okay? Demonstrate very slowly. Sometimes you have extra flat might throw people off. So this measure, I watch your eyes. Just want to show you exactly how I'm playing that. Let me show you one more time. go back to better on me than it did on you. Okay? Right there. Ready, set, go. Okay, now we go back and we put the whole section together from I Still Remember. Okay, we'll try that together. Of course, very slowly. Ready, set, go. Word of advice when you play these chords right here, make sure your hands are lined up, make sure your wrist is straight, because you have it at an angle can kind of feel really uncomfortable. You want to avoid tension wherever possible, so if your hand is straight, you can reach all the keys, right? Sometimes it's kind of going up into the keys here, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable if you're not used to it, so make sure your hand is straight, so you avoid tension, avoid pain, okay? So that was pretty much the last step of the process of practicing where I showed you here, right? You do one part, you do another part, and then sometimes it's 2 parts, sometimes it's 3, then you link it together in one entire section, okay? So remember that. That's pretty much the steps on how to practice, and I'm just gonna go over that for the rest of the video, okay? Now from walks by. That's the next entire section we're going to practice. And you know, if you're watching this after the live stream is over, sometimes it's a good idea, before I actually tell you where I would split this up, you can hit that pause button and kind of think about it. Okay, where would I stop? Okay, this is good to not only just only depend on my instructions. I don't want that, right? As a teacher, you know, my private students, I always encourage independent thinking. Okay, all right. So walks by. Let's see where I would break this up. But no, I think blue is a good place to stop here, okay? So, by, walks by to a blue. Let me play for you one more time. From walks, actually. Okay, so far we haven't needed to do hands separate. Because I think more of the complex parts are in the right hand anyway. So more notes in the right hand. Okay? Alright, let's do that together. Walks by. Ready, set, go. Too far, sorry. kind of got daydream there. All right, now from blue. To Y. Okay, now here you mesmerized. So it's kind of hard to get all those notes together at the same time. So B flat, major 7 chord. Kind of in between those beats. See that? And then we play while I. So when you play this note, you immediately want to let it go. Because they want you to play a chord there. Okay. And then you try to hold on to these bottom 3 notes. Because the next part, die. No, I'm not telling you to die. Okay, that's in the words, right? Die, I, right? Kind of hard to pull off, right? So holding the 3 notes on the bottom, and then that melody on top. If that's too much for you, just let it go and do Y, okay? All right, Blue Sky. Let me play for you one more time. All right, let's try it together. Ready, set, go. Okay, going back to walks by putting this whole entire section together. Okay, try it together. Ready, set, go. Just for just one part, we're gonna put the whole thing together from the beginning. I'm not gonna do it with the rest of the song because that way it's gonna take forever with this lesson, and then we're all busy. We have stuff to do, right? Wait 1 second here. I'm gonna plug in my iPad. Nice. Okay. I've got these cables here from my hope that didn't damage your guys' eardrums too much. All right. A lot of cables from my Zoom piano lessons. Okay. Now, all the way from the beginning, in case you want to build it up into larger and larger sections, this is what it sounds like. So let's give that a go from the beginning. Ready, set, go. Okay, so when you're practicing this, it might take some time, concentration, and patience to really build up to this whole entire section. So definitely give it more than a day, okay? Maybe a week or so, if it even gets to that point. You might have to plan out, like some days I'm gonna practice this section, some days I'm gonna practice that section. You don't wanna just say, I'm gonna practice the whole song one day. Not a good idea, you probably will fail, okay? So really plan it out, the sections that you're going to practice, which is why I'm giving you small parts at a time. And the other thing I want to say before we continue on with the lesson is you want to think of this lesson and giving you the instructions. I'm teaching you how to practice, okay, like step-by-step instructions. When you have a handle on this, you want to click over to the tutorial. The tutorial for this one's coming out tomorrow. So if you click the links after the lesson, it should be up there. Actually, this video takes a while to process these live lessons these days. So just keep an eye out for tomorrow's video. I'll premiere it so you guys can see it ahead of time, okay? So if you really understand the things I'm showing you in this lesson, you'll be able to use those tutorials, any tutorial on my channel, if you remember these steps and the music's not too challenging or difficult for you, okay? That's how I do my lessons, my private piano students. Every week, I just teach them the song, okay? And then this is how to practice, yada, 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 until they really get a handle on it. And then what eventually happens over time, they're able to use the tutorials to just teach themselves. And it's really cool when sometimes they show up to the lesson and the whole entire song's already done. They just played it. It's really awesome, okay? All right, let's keep going from Why Would You Ever Kiss? Okay, we're gonna split that up into two parts. We listen from why, and then if you want to practice the left hand by yourself, you can. It's just basically octaves with a fifth in the middle. I'll just give you the basic skeleton in the left hand in case you want to practice that. This is the basic pattern. Okay, so once again, let me show you again. This really, literally, like if you practice like this, it does make it a whole lot easier. Okay, all right. I'm going back to both hands. Give it a listen. Okay, to You Gave. Let's try that together. A lot slower. Ready, set, go. Okay. Also, when using I really do recommend using the tutorial for this because you can just slow down the speed to whatever you want. Okay. So whatever section you're listening to, you're like, I really can't get the timing on that. Like for instance, this part, even half. Words right, even half. It was kind of fast. You might not catch that. So if you slow down, you can just listen to whatever speed. You can watch the music at whatever speed you want. Okay. All right. Let's try it together. Why would you ever? And we're stopping at You Gave. Ready, set, go. Next part. Okay, so here again, holding the two notes on the bottom if possible. I say if possible because it takes a lot of finger control and you might not be there yet, okay? So if you can't, just hold it as best as you can, maybe even just one note. It's kind of a reach, right? Sorry, maybe the top or the bottom, right? I think a D flat sounds better, actually. Alright, anyway, let's go back to you gave her your heart. I'm starting the left hand here. Ready, set, go. It's probably better if I start on the right note, yeah? Alright. Her your sweater, okay. Ready, set, go. Yeah, that's definitely gonna take a lot of slow practice because a lot of jumping chords everywhere, okay? Alright, next part, watch as she stands. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to give you this entire section now. Both, to kind of test your concentration and also give you like a target, right? So if you're able to do these parts that I'm giving you, and let's say that's fairly easy for you, just challenge yourself. Next step, do a longer section if possible, okay? All right, by the way, if you are enjoying this video, you're still here and watching, good for you. Also, like this video, it really does help me out a lot. I appreciate your guys' advanced support. Okay, watch as she stands. It gets pretty difficult in this section. Definitely, I'm gonna play one more time for you guys in a bit. I'm gonna really slow it down so you can catch every little nuance here. But a lot of these notes are gonna get clipped off because as soon as you play it, you have to let go immediately because they want the whole entire chord. I mean, technically you can just do this, right? But I'm just kind of playing it faithfully the way it's described. So all these repeats. When you have the repeated note with the chord, make sure you let go. Otherwise, it's not going to come out, right? Okay, and then like single notes into chords. That also will take some slow practice as well. So all those parts, really, you don't need to just play it from beginning to end. You can just focus on like one, couple, like pairs of notes at a time, like you know. Just focus on that for a while. It's totally okay, you know. And you're like, okay, I got it. Then you're gonna go back, okay? All right. So besides the timing and what I just mentioned, the other part here at the end of this section, but then again, a wish that she were dead. Jeez. All right. This is really hard to pull off. I'm doing this in the tutorial, okay? So I'm going from C to this chord. Very difficult, okay? If you can't manage that, you can just play this first two right here. Okay? So instead of this, alright, it's very difficult to pull off, like trust me on that. It kind of took me a couple tries with when I'm recording the tutorial, okay? So just make sure, okay, if you want to try it with me. Alright, I'm going to play this for you again slowly, and then we'll try it together. The DSL chord there. Anyway, let's try it together. Watch as she stands. Ready, set, go. Okay, so definitely one of the more trickier sections in this entire song, okay? Alright. Now, they have a DSL coda. If you don't know what that means, just you go back to, let me give you the page. I'm not sure if this is the proper arrangement. You guys might have a different arrangement than me, but if you go around the second page, like when the song starts, okay? Let me give you the lyrics. How much I liked you, but I watch your eyes as she walks. So that's where you're gonna skip back to where it says that DSL coda, and there's a little funky symbol up there that you can see, like a little S Renaissance looking sign. That basically just means you go back there, you continue to play again like usual. Then when you get to it's just polyester, but you like her better. So bet that before we finish better, okay? There's a little sign that says to coda. Look for that little compass looking sign, and you just skip straight to there, okay? And there's also another reason why I created my tutorials, because if you don't know how all those jumps work, you just listen to and watch my video, follow along with the music. You'll be like, oh, it goes here, it goes there. It'll just explain everything without me actually saying anything, okay? All right, let's go from compass. Say compass, the coda. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the entire coda section now. Okay, so I'm throwing out an even bigger challenge for you, doing an even larger section, okay? So work yourself up to it. If anything doesn't work for you, remember to divide it into sections that are more acceptable for you, okay? Some parts that might be a little bit difficult, well, I don't know difficult, but pointing out, I wish I were Heather. Again, holding these notes on the bottom, holding it and playing the single notes on top. Where's another section? Wish I were Heather. Okay. I guess that one's not too bad. Yeah. Everything looks very straightforward. Oh, from here. Okay, he's just singing ah, so I'm not gonna say from ah, right? So from here, holding the top note. Like, these are just little details. Like, you know, if you don't want to do it, you can just spit out it. That sounds like too much work, okay? But if you really want to get it accurate the way it's in the arrangement, this is what I'm doing here. Then you hold that. Then now you play 2 notes on the bottom. And then you're holding all notes again. So let me show you again. Sometimes it's better if I just show you instead of explaining. Okay, if that's too fast, let me even slow it down even more. There's a lot going on there, okay? Alright, let me play this last coda section for you again. I'm gonna go a lot slower, like I did for that previous section, and we'll try it together. Thank you, Charles. As usual, I will see you next time, my friend. All right, let's try it together. From the coda, ready, set, go. Okay, guys, before you go, just some additional resources that you can follow. I'll include links in the playlists and the cards, okay? So I have some practice guides that you can watch that kind of breaks this down, kind of section by section. Not this song, but some other songs, like, you know, it's another thing too, is like you don't have to keep watching things at this level. If you're at intermediate and you're trying to understand, like, how do I practice correctly? Like, you don't have to keep on watching intermediate piano lessons. You can actually do easier songs as well. But yeah, you can check out practice guide, full practice guides that I have, where I pretty much just kind of edited it, and you can see like, okay, this is 1 to 10, measures 1 to 10. This is measures like 10 to 20, whatever it is. Right hand, right hand, left hand, hands together. Okay, literally showing you step by step how to practice without these instructions, and I have timestamps and all that. There's a lot more structured approach, so that's an additional resource you can watch. And of course, if you just jump on all of these live streams that I have coming up, these free piano lessons, you will eventually begin to understand this anyway, okay? And you can watch lessons at all different levels, you know, and you don't have to stick with this like I was saying. But yeah, multiple times watching these lessons, then you're going to really begin to understand the whole idea of how do you practice not only this song, but really any song, any piece, anything that you're playing on piano, okay? All right, so a quick recap before you guys go. There's steps on practice. How do you practice correctly? Well, you just pick one part at a time. a small section that you can manage, whatever is appropriate for you. You do hands separate if necessary. You do hands together, okay? And then you repeat the process with the next part. And then when you can, you build it up into bigger sections until you basically have the whole entire song, whole entire piece, whatever it is that you are practicing. Okay? And then remember, after you're done with this lesson, if you feel confident enough, you can click on over to the tutorial, and then if you're able to use the tutorial, congratulations, you understand exactly what I'm showing you, and you can proceed to use any tutorials on my channel. Like, you can just teach yourself with them. It's pretty magical when that happens, okay? All right, thank you guys so much. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to catch all these lessons and tutorials coming out on a daily basis. Premiering this song, the tutorial tomorrow, so keep a eye out for that if you want to listen to how it's supposed to sound from beginning to end. Okay, all right guys, thanks a lot, have a great weekend, and happy practicing.